Hey yo! Today we'll be talking about Static Tokyo. He's a commentary VTuber whose content I quite like, but Static has recently stirred up the hornet's nest. Several VTubers on Twitter got beef with this man, and they make it very known. I'll be using many sources which will be linked in the description. This controversy is very complex with a lot of stuff being said behind the scenes, so I'll try my best to summarize it. The Black VTuber Awards was a streaming awards show dedicated to giving appreciation to Black VTubers, which is a nice idea, but turns out there's a lot of criticism being thrown at it. Some good, some bad. Static himself made a video about this, you can go watch it for more context. Anyway, as this was going on, there was a growing madness happening behind the scenes. Bafa, who was one of the people mentioned in Static's video, was having a major falling out with his now ex-friend, Obsidian. She has since made 2 docs explaining her history with Bafa and why she cut all ties with him. Basically, as the Black VTuber Awards were happening, some people were talking bad about Bafa, and he got really mad. This led to Bafa venting out his anger to Obsidian, which made her feel uncomfortable, and she ended up having a panic attack due to it. I've struggled with anxiety before, I know that feel, it sucks. Another doc, this time made by Glitchica, describes her reason for cutting ties with him too. The reasons are eerily similar. He's difficult to work with, rude, manipulative, and has a short temper. Her doc provided several more examples. One in particular that caught my attention is when Bafa got into a heated argument with someone during a John Wick watch-along because someone said they like High School DxD, like, okay then. This is an incredibly simplified version of events described, and there are many more examples I skipped over. Reading through them, I can see why they chose to cut him off, although I do want to preface that I don't know Bafa or the people calling him out personally. I'm just here to tell you about it, I'm not making any accusations. I do highly recommend reading the docs if you do want to understand why they got such problems with Bafa. The link will be down below. Okay, now let's see Bafa's response. Oh, looks like he committed seppuku. Well, I guess we won't be getting his side of the story then. During and after Bafa's cancellation, Static has been getting a lot of backlash towards his video. This led to him making a follow-up, which you can watch down below.
I will apologize for the overgeneralization of the whole Black VTuber community, hence why I changed the name of the video, because I realized that I was wrongfully putting my disappointment in the whole community, which wasn't the case. I was just disappointed in a few individuals.
It's kind of wild to me how Static has to reiterate these claims considering he said this in the original video.
Which I can agree. After that, he could have hired Black VTubers to do the asset and the R and whatnot, and let some of the community help out. Cool. There's a bunch of good criticism. I'm not knocking y'all for that.
I don't know, maybe the people who are mad must have missed this part. Also, remember Bafa? Static has been getting so much shit from people saying he's defending Bafa's bad actions. Which is crazy to me considering the docs didn't release until after Static's video came out. How the fuck was Static supposed to know about this stuff happening behind the scenes? None of it was made public yet. He was going off purely from the stuff being said in the voice calls. Static was clearly talking about how he didn't agree with some of the criticisms Bafa was getting in the award show. That's it. It has nothing to do with any shit mentioned in the doc. Y'all are acting crazy. Anyway, for those skeptical thinking that, Bafa and Static are like secret BFFs, here's what he had to say after me asking him directly about it.
Bafa enjoyed my content, watching it on stream, hyping me up when he can, etc., and did indeed want to work with me. I eventually ended up being the person that did his thumbnails as I am credited under some of his videos. Mind you, I did those thumbnails free of charge because I've never made thumbnails for other people and thought, maybe down the line when I have experience I may open comms. I heard from mutuals that Bafa thought of me as a younger brother, which I found rather odd because while we did play Aram and stuff, it would mainly be me listening to him talk or him introducing me to people, and we didn't hang out that much often either. I would consider him a colleague for sure, but not exactly a friend because I didn't know much about him until the BVTA stuff happened, and he started to be more open about his family situation. The video, as I stated before, was purely to talk about those that used the guise of criticism to be rude, going off the Twitter spaces as my base. The reason that section was titled Bafa was because him joining Def stirred the pot and lead to some conflict. So the whole thing of me defending Bafa is untrue, but I do apologize if I came off that way, as that is not what I wanted to portray.
Seems to me that Static was on good terms with Bafa, but wasn't as close as suggested by conspiracies on Twitter. If that's not enough for you, he also said this in the follow-up video.
In this message, I do tell Bafa that joining the space was a bad idea and he should have just moved in silence and just basically be petty and flaunt the award he was so proud of type shit. Later in a voice call, which looking at this message in hindsight sucks ass, I even said to his face that he made a stupid move and he was a dumbass for going into the spaces. And I even have DMs defending one of the spaces, the one that Bafa didn't join, and giving praise to the few individuals that spoke, because it was clear that he was being fed a skewed image of what was going on in the spaces. There was definitely some shit I didn't like, but not all of it was bad or about him.
To me, it feels like people are exaggerating this to discredit him as biased and make him look bad using guilty by association. Also, to the people giving Static shit for staying quiet rather than immediately going against Bafa.
And I want to also clarify why I didn't do a second video. The first reason is because all the people that were giving me more information told me that what was said in DMs stays in DMs. Secondly, I was getting fed a bunch of contradictory information from a lot of parties, which made it hard to form a firm opinion and conclusion of it all. And I realized that a lot of what they were saying were personal bouts and other things that happened prior and during the award show situation. There's apparently like a deleted VOD, an altercation, for lack of a better word, between two parties that pertain to the award show, and a bunch of other shit that I can't make a decisive opinion on due to people telling me a bunch of things that could just be like lies or half-truths or whatever. And I literally can't make a video on that because I like linking all the things I'm talking about. I can't do that when it's personal beefs and screenshot I was clearly told not to show and were privately shared with me.
Static choosing to wait until there's more conclusive evidence is very admirable and something I respect, but in this case it really looked like it backfired on him. Static has said he cut ties with Bafa, saying this tweet said way back when was referring to him.
Second doc releases with detailed actions of shit that I just do not condone at all, and I can't hang around someone like that. I cut ties and will not be working with him in the future. And yes, in the future, I don't know if I said that wrong.
Looking at this, it seems to me that Static wanted to quietly move on, but you know Twitter.
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Bafa straight up got hit by a drone strike, and it looks like Static got caught in the blast radius. In conclusion, I am deeply disappointed in seeing just how much of a mess this situation turned out to be. I've got a lot of mixed feelings, and I hope we just move on from this. It's tragic how an event meant to show appreciation to a lot of underrated VTubers ended up getting so bogged down by toxicity. Better luck next year, I guess. And if you are curious, I am mixed El Salvadorian and Irish. So if you want to get mad at me for talking about this issue while having light skin, let me know on Twitter and I'll be sure to not give a shit. The last thing I'll say is that this clip aged like fine wine.
You can't talk about being respectful and then be blatantly disrespectful.